How's it going, guys? And welcome to my review of the Mamut Apto gunstock. Welcome everybody, I am excited to show this product to you. If you're new to the channel, my name's Froggerdog. I'm a member of Tunnel Vision. We are a competitive VR team. We play mainly Echo Combat, and we play a bunch of other VR games just for fun. So this stock is actually the first I've ever owned. Sadly, I don't have anything to compare it to, so keep that in mind during the review. No, everything's falling. No, stop. So back in college when I, first had VR, we were playing a lot of shooting games, and we were kind of looking at options for stocks, but we didn't really want to pay any money. So around that time, we had seen the original Mamut stock, which was the first one to have this kind of mounted on the touch ring magnet that you could slap underneath. And I wanted that because I didn't want to have to deal with these cups. I just wanted to hold the controller and be able to use a gun stock without, weird cups on it. So through some files we found online and some 3D designing on my part, and a quick trip to Lowe's, we made this atrocity, which was kind of our first little gun stock. It's PVC with one person's stock was actually designed to clip to the inside of the touch controller, inside there, and just 3D printed this little piece. Didn't fit inside the T-joint, so I just wrapped it in tape and stuck it in there. Put these little grooves so that it would kind of lock into place. But the magnets are But it's been a while since then, and I've decided to dip my toes back into gun stocks. So I decided to just bite the bullet and go and get the Mamut Apto. So the Mamut Apto is a universal magnetic gun stock. So this works with the Valve Index, HTC Vive, Rift, Rift S, Quest, works with all of them. Now the amount of options per controller differ. So for instance, the Index can do the top mount but not the bottom mount. I'll put this infographic on the screen for you. In fact, the only headset that can use both the bottom mounted and top mounted options is the original Rift S. So as I said before, I really just wanted one that I wouldn't have to use cups, and I wanted it attached to the ring so I could just slap it underneath, and that was the main selling point for me. I looked at ProTube, and I even considered getting it just because I thought it would be cheaper, so I started configuring it. I picked the magnet option, I picked the carbon fiber, all these things, and when I got to the end it was like 160 euros, which was like $150. And I was like, well, the Mamut Apto is $160, so I might as well just get that one, right? So let's get right into it. So here is the stock in my current configuration. And right off the bat, you'll notice I'm currently running with cups, which is what I told you I wanted to avoid getting a stock. And it turns out that these cups are actually fantastic. So the plastic that they're made of is really soft. It's kind of almost powdery. It's almost like the self-heal type of thing where you just kind of like scratch it, but then you can kind of rub it away. Just feels really nice. I mean, you can kind of tell from the color that the rest of the plastic is different from the cups. Just feels really nice. It's got a nice ergonomic curve here for your hand when it rests in it. And I've just found, overall, that when I'm holding it with the cup, it's actually more that I can hold on to, and it's just a sturdier feel overall. In fact, I like the cup so much that I'm beginning to play around with using it in games like Echo Combat, where you're only, shooting with one hand, but having more to hold on to is giving me a steadier hand when I'm using something like the sniper gun in that game that is still one-handed. Because in that game, if you're holding it normally, and you're doing a lot of movements, the controller can maybe shift around in your hand. I do a lot of work to make sure that this thing is like tucked into my hand, I'm holding it tightly, it's not moving, so that every time I take a shot it's consistent. But with this cup, it's actually more to hold on to. Now that's just a side note for a different game. The one complaint I will have about the cup system while we're talking about it is that, well, it's universal, which is good. So it can fit the Vive wand, it can fit the Quest, Rift S, and Rift, but it cannot fit the Index. And I found that maybe because the Quest controller and the Rift controller are slightly different in body shape, I found that it didn't quite stay. Like, it would go, you could push it in 50% and it would feel like it, but then you could push it a little more and it would just kind of always pop back, like maybe the retention wasn't holding on to it. And because of that reason, when I first opened it, I decided to go with the top mounted solution, because using the magnets, it would squirm around. The force of the magnets would move them kind of around in the shell. But since I've revisited it, I've done a quick little mod, which is I've put electrical tape right there on the inside, on the back on the inside, and on that side on the inside. And because electrical tape is kind of rubbery, I can slot it in there, and it's a lot more stuck in there than it used to be. And now I can do anything. I can even use the magnets, and it doesn't really shift around. It's how I imagine it should have been when I opened it. But simple fix, a little bit of electrical tape gives it more hold. You use grippy tape, stuff like that. Works really well. So the reason I switched off of the top-mounted solution is that, for one, it didn't quite fit the way I expected it to. There's two parts that are supposed to meet that you screw together and it holds it tight. But it was always kind of finicky, and it took a little bit of time to actually seat everything correctly and screw it in. And the weight from the magnet hanging off the top of the controller was affecting other games. So if I wanted to play Beat Saber, or if I wanted to play Echo Combat, the extra weight over here was actually a problem, versus this is not a problem. And so I would have to take it off for games that didn't use this, and I'd have to put it back on for games like Pavlov or Contractors. In general, I would say that the top-mounted solution is still the best, even if it takes a while to take on and off. But for my personal use, I'm really liking the extra grabbability of the cup design. Another small note I have about the cups is that they've done a good job to round all the edges on the top so you don't notice them, but the edges in the crease right here are just straight cuts, and they're kind of sharp. When your fingers are resting on them, you can kind of feel them digging into your fingers a little bit, depending on how tightly you grab. But this plastic is so soft that you could probably take a metal file and round them off just on the outside, just here, just kind of round them off. But they're not too bad. They're not too bad for me. I still prefer this method now. So, looking at the stock itself, it comes stock. With carbon fiber tubes, so it's super light. All of the plastic, it's not 3D printed, it's injection mold, so I gotta tell you, it's really, really high quality plastic. I can tell, like, it's not gonna crack or anything. Another thing that's really nice is that all of the joints, all of the bolts that tighten it down, nothing is actually threading into plastic. It's all just being used by, a nut inside of this thumb screw that you use the thumb screw to tighten. And so it's just metal on metal, and the plastic is just in between. So you don't have to worry about, plastic being threaded or unthreaded. The only places you need to worry about it are on the magnets. So on both parts of the magnet, there are screws that go into the plastic. So removing the magnets and putting them back in over time could strip your plastic. The reason I bring this up is because Mamut has actually included in the cup a way for you to tighten your thumb screws even further. So this is two parts. You've got the magnet and the cup. If you use the included Allen wrench to remove the magnet, underneath the cup is basically a key that fits all of the thumb screws so that you could just hold the cup and tighten them like that. Now, this was convenient when I was using the top mounted solution and these cups were sitting in a bag. Now that they're connected to the magnets, I don't have any more cups to tighten thumb screws with or untighten, because now they're so tight I cannot physically with my hands untighten them. Which means the only way to get that key back is to unthread the screw in the plastic here, and then when I'm done, rethread it back, which I'm not going to do because, like I said, this is a nice soft plastic and it's going to strip it. I just know over time you don't want to unscrew and keep rescrewing. I wish they had just included like a piece of plastic that served as a key. It's smart that they had the double function of the cup and the tightener, but you're going to want to be careful is what I'm saying when you're using this. You want to undo this as few times as possible. The other thing that's really great about this stock are the 3 axes joints. So you can see here that this is one axis of the joint that you can tilt the controller forward and back as usual. You can also turn it on the tube to tilt it back and forth, and then on the 3rd axis you can turn the controller sideways. And it's nice they've actually included here. So this shows you an arrow pointing to what degree you're currently sitting on, so you can remember what setting you've got your controller on, which is really nice. Really helps you keep from having weird wrist angles when you can turn it like that. It's really nice. The magnets are pretty great. They're what I would say the perfect strength is that they come off when you want them to, but they don't come off when you don't. So I can even hold the entire stock from one controller, obviously in the middle, but you know, I could take this off and it's still supporting all that weight in the back end on just the controller. But it doesn't hang at all. As long as you flick your wrist, it comes right off. If you try to like slowly go at it, you're just gonna bend the tube around. If you flick it, it's perfect. Yeah, magnets work super great. So the stock has a lot of different ways that you could potentially customize it, and I've got it in a pretty funky setup right now. So the way it's designed is you've got these 2 pieces. One's designed to be the buttstock, one's designed to be the cheek rest. When I was setting the gun up for Pavlov, I found that I want to have the stock down basically kind of in my armpit almost, but I didn't want to do a whole lot of shoulder crunching to shoot like that. And unfortunately, no matter how you put these two, you're not going to get that kind of distance from shoulder to cheek without scrunching your shoulder. So if I wanted to have it here and hold up, I'm just not going to be able to have a cheek rest. There's no extension. I've tried all kinds of ways. I've tried out and down, or down, up and around, but my sights would never be correctly lined up. I would either have a stock that was high on my shoulder and I had a cheek rest, or the stock was where I wanted it and I would have to scrunch for the cheek rest. So potentially adding an extension would be good for them in the future to allow taller buttstocks. The way I have my stock set up currently is that I have one part that kind of goes diagonally on my chest that I can push against, and the other part goes underneath my arm so that it doesn't ride up or down. One of my earlier configurations just kind of had the stock just kind of flat like that, and sometimes you would pull it up to shoot and it would be low or it'd be high. So this way I basically have this pocket here that you can see that it goes in perfectly just about every time. The sights are lined up perfectly. It works really well. Now Mamut also offers a 1-point sling, a nice elastic bungee spring, and I'd say this is pretty essential. You will find yourself, even with the carbon tubes, being a bit fatigued from holding this just on your own, even when you're not aiming, just kind of holding it up for long periods of time. The other thing is, if you wanted to use a pistol and you gotta drop both hands, obviously now your stock's on the ground. That's not ideal. So whether you fashion your own kind of sling, or you've got one that you own for one of your real guns or something, I would definitely suggest using the stock sling. I'm gonna edit this out. Just watch. You won't see this. So I like to keep my sling pretty tight. There's still a little bit of slack, but it's basically right here hanging when I need it, and I can pull it right into my shoulder when I need it. So my tips for using this stock are to definitely, if you're using the cups, put some electrical tape on the inside here. Also, make sure not to unscrew or screw these back and forth a whole lot, because it will most likely strip it. In fact, I already had one strip, but they had an extra long screw, which probably it was either a spare or it was to be used with like maybe a Vive configuration. Anyway, I grabbed it and I just screwed it in deeper, and I learned after that, it was like 3 days I had it, and it had already stripped from how much I was trying to, you know, configure it. So I would definitely get one of your cups set up how you want, and then I would keep the other one free while you're still playing around and configuring it, just so you can tighten it. And I do recommend tightening it to the fullest extent, because it gets so much sturdier once you go past, you know, hand twisting. So much tighter. It really feels solid after that. So this stock goes for about $160. It's pretty steep for an accessory to your gaming PC. But if you're wanting to improve your aim, or you just want that little bit more realism, and you want something with quality materials, this is it by far. I'm very happy with my purchase. I mean, this thing can do just about everything you want it to do, and I don't think anyone will have really any problems with it. So with that, I will leave you with some footage of me using the stock. I don't have a ton of camera footage of me using it, because I just have really bad lighting conditions here. But all of the gaming footage you're about to see is me using the stock. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. We'll be putting up some highlights soon-ish, maybe. Thanks for watching.
Alright, they've been going B the
Hold for a second. I don't think we're not going this way. Alright. Just run and plant, run and plant.
I hate the 4X, it's really not my
Aw, dang it! I two-tapped you, you should be dead.
Where's Windows? Oh, there he is. Now I'm gonna have to buy that again, Frog.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, oh man,
You
I only got a
guys-
couple shots.
You
He's
guys were
gonna
just
turn around.
circling each other.
Oh, I got a teammate. It's 2-on-2 now. Oh my god, I
killed
just
Frog.
killed
Oh,
3.
that's just brutal.
I killed Frog.
Killed
that's all
2,
I care
traded
about.
1. What was that gun you really liked, Windows, you told me about?
MP5?
No, it was the one that said looked like an AK.
Oh, PP 2000.
Oh, I destroyed his helmet. I need to remember my armor. I'm not buying armor. And I think it's hurting me.
Damn it.
Killed
I
1.
went to shoot you and my freaking thing wasn't going.
The
Our
light.
idiot ran off with a bomb and died.
Alright, let's go, Cat.
What?
Cat is a connector from middle to A.
Come on, get with it, Major. You don't know these things? I learned
Smoking
No.
double
10
doors.
minutes ago.
Double doors smoked. You still alive, Frog?
Yep.
I'm right here with you on this.
Frog, you're over, Oh, nice. Clear? Where's he at?
Corner.
Car? He's down.
Whoa! Whoa!
Who is
I'm
bomb?
good. I'm good. Not me! Gun!
He's dead. I'm dead. Mid. Guess that's a no.
Nice kill.
don't know. I successfully reloaded
I was shooting with one hand because I had my knife in the other hand.
that. Same.
Oh, motherfucker. Oh, what? If you get
When,
a
when
knife
your
kill,
avatar used to show and kill,
take all of their
there's some
coin.
Voorhees that
Oh, you take
come
everything?
down to
Yeah,
get
they
it.
all the points. You get
Was
points every
that-
time you kill somebody with your
Jason
machine gun.
Voorhees,
Yeah.
was my avatar
Right?
in
You
this.
get
Back when
10
it used
points
to
every
be
time you
your
shoot somebody with
avatar
your regular
when you get
primary.
killed.
Yeah.
So
You get
there's some
half their
Voorhees
points
counselor.
if you shoot them with the
Oh, I
pistol.
get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
You get all their points
But I
if you
left your
stab them.
slices.
That makes sense.